All right, Zig coming in on the top. Today on the show, we have Robin Hyperius Blake from Hyperius Blake and the Sound Experiment. Robin is also the founder of Curation Fest. Curation Fest 4.5 is happening November 11th at the Brown Hoist Building on St. Clair in Cleveland, Ohio. Curation is one of the coolest festivals that I've gotten to play multiple times and be a part of, running sound and just assisting, and at one point hosting at Negative Space, or at least hosting the venue. It's one of the coolest festivals that happens around Cleveland, and it's definitely something you should check out. This year at Curation, Navy Jade, Janari Komet, Hyperius Blake and the Sound Experiment, Nothing Phased by a Jewel, Total Downer, Skylar Keefe, Remajestic, Reggie Field, and Anuvi are playing, as well as interactive art installations, flash tattoos, Caribbean/Asian fusion for food. There will be networking with other creatives, a community resource center, chill-out chambers, ample parking. They also have accessibility accommodations. So Curation 4.5 starts at 7 p.m. November 11th. You don't want to miss this one. It's going to be a lot of fun. It always is. Follow Curation Fest on all the social medias to get all the updates and as far as all the ticket information. I believe it's $20 at the door unless you get a ticket in advance. All right. With that being said, if you can like, rate, review, subscribe to the podcast and any of the podcast formats, it helps me keep talking to cool guests and spreading the good word, like my guest today, Robin. Here we go. Here's my conversation with Robin. But to jump into it, I kind of wanted to, if you're good, are you good?
Yes, I'm good now.
Sweet. I wanted to, because it's been a while since we've talked. Like, it's been
Yes.
I think one of the original runs in Isaiah's studio at Negative Space is the last time we did like a dive into what's going on musically.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I remember that.
Right? Like, oh man. And like I do miss that setup. That was a nice setup. But I wanted to start off by asking what's the similarities of composition and coding?
Oh wow. I guess there's a lot of comparisons. The first thing that came to mind, funny enough, was trying to transcribe somebody's incoherent ideas into, a coherent working thing without a lot of detail. Sometimes you can run into that in both. But definitely, music and coding are both a language, right? And you're working with a language and the building blocks of that language in order to create functioning, bodies, functioning moments or whatever, what have you. So just like you can put together a mobile app or, you can code out a little prototype of something that might look bad, just like you can work out a demo of a song that isn't perfect but has the important parts. It's just like flushing out an app. We need to make this work, and we need to make all the important parts work, and then from there we can perfect it. And that's sort of like writing a song. You're like, well, I need chords, right? And a bass line usually, and once you put together your main elements, you have your beta product, which is like the demo of a song. And from there it's never really finished, right? Like when you write a song, sure, there's like that version of that song, but as things develop over time and you develop and your playing develops and your ear develops, the song can change. And that's the same thing with coding. The more skills you learn and the better your eye gets and the better you get at writing clear, cohesive code, you're able to go back and improve upon the original formula.
And I imagine as technology progresses, you have to update whatever, you know what I mean? As for tech-wise, you got to update the coding to fit whatever the new mechanism is, I guess. But I think that was a great answer.
Yeah, and actually what you just said was an even better, a fabulous answer. Like you got to stay up to date, got to keep up.
Because definitely relate to that musically. personally, I relate to that musically. But so, like, to kind of catch everyone up from when we last talked, you dove into the Google schooling of coding. Like, did that right? Like going through.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
still doing?
basically.
Like,
No, well, no. So that it
okay.
actually has been a while. So I was doing an externship at Google, learning how to build Android apps.
Whoa.
Um, and then I know, right? Um, and then after that, I got a job at Progressive. So I actually am a software developer with them now.
But okay, still that coding kind of carries, right? Or does it not?
Oh, I mean, yeah, the coding,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
still like the universal thing that goes all the way through.
Okay. So, like, I guess jumping into that kind of field, was it easier, do you think, kind of having this, like, pattern recognition background in music?
Oh, 10,000%. I mean, even now, I catch things that some people, miss just because I'm so tuned into recognizing things like that.
That's awesome. It was funny because
Yeah.
I remember a conversation we had outside the gallery, negative space gallery, about when you. I think it's been a minute since we've talked, man. But when you were starting the Google camp, the Google school, um, you were saying there was a lot of other musicians doing that program as well.
Yes. Yes. There's a lot of musicians who code or a lot of musicians who go into tech. And, some would joke and have you say, oh, it's because they couldn't find any money in music. So they had to like leap to the next best thing, which like, that's not untrue, for a lot of people. But really, the discipline that music gives you and the ability to work collaboratively and work asynchronously with other people, those things really do bleed over. And, being in bands and being our own managers and all of those skills, those things that we musicians have to go through are transferable skills into the tech world and into coding.
Well, and for someone that says you can't do it, like everyone's gonna have some like hustle to start off with to jump, before abandoning ship, and like if you can do something that's going to benefit the music aspect of what you do, because like being able to code and be able to like work with programs like that and like understand algorithms, you're putting yourself way in front of any curve.
Oh yeah, for sure. And especially, understanding algorithms, like you said, once you get the general concept of what an algorithm is and how to build one in any programming language, you're really good from there. From there you can really explore and go deeper with certain concepts, just like with music.
Have you like I guess has there been any other like has there been a reverse crossover, like some like coding stuff that's fed into like some music you've been writing?
Uh, no. Maybe if I was writing like music concrete or like,
Yeah.
like modern, like weird soundy stuff, but no, no, nothing really going backwards.
Was it a cuz like another thing too, I guess to dive into it, musically what have you been up to?
Uh, I mean, in general, or like since the
Well,
pandemic.
there's been a lot of ups and downs. I know you've been tracking and getting that together. Um So like, are you writing new stuff? Are you tracking stuff with the group? What's like? I don't know. Let's catch everyone up.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. In general, I have my band in the studio, and we are tracking. I think tracking is mostly almost done at this point, and we're going into the mixing phase of creating an EP. And the really interesting thing about this, I was actually talking to someone the other day about this, is that the music I play live with my band doesn't necessarily reflect the music that is closest to my heart or the music that I would play as a solo artist. And so I've been contending with that the past couple of years because everyone's always like, "Oh, where's your EP? Like, where is it?" And I'm kind of like, come to a show if you like want to feel the vibe, because what I cultivate in a live experience is really honestly completely different than what I plan to offer sonically or in a way that you can stream. But in today's day and age with marketing and everyone's short attention spans and things like that, you kind of have to have some recorded media in the world to legitimize yourself. So my band is putting out a couple of songs, but I myself, I've been in the studio producing and mixing and working on my own music, and there will be crossover. So obviously, the music that I self-produce and release will be played by my band, and vice versa. But those are the two musical projects I've got going on right now.
That's awesome. And I totally agree. Like, there's no way, especially with what you and your band do, there's no way to capture that energy and like when everyone's like there's a fluidness, and I from playing with you guys for a while understand like it flows into this part then it hits it, so you guys also do a very good job of vibing off the room. Like I think back to some of the first few Curation Fest, and just like the energy within that room, like none of the videos could capture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think the only thing a video like that can capture is like, wow, there's a lot of people. You know what I mean? There's no like. And maybe in our psyches, we're like, well, if there's a lot of people there, that must be a pretty sick place to be. I'm like, maybe
Right.
that's in there, but there is nothing with your group. There's nothing like seeing it live and being there. So I gotta imagine that kind of live that's hard to capture. It's hard to capture that in like a studio setting because you're in the laboratory now.
Yeah.
Are you still working with Matt?
Yeah, I
Okay.
am still working with Matt. He recorded us, and I'm going back to do another session or two to finish up mixing with him.
Sick. I can't. What's Matt's studio's name?
Obese
Obese
Studios?
Studios. That's right. And it's like in that weird doctor's office. It's so cool.
Yes. No, it is really cool. That doctor's office is a very nifty location for a studio.
It's pretty. It's or even just like if he was just like living there, if that was your apartment, like that would still be sick.
Yeah, honestly, not a bad deal at all. It is very wet and moldy in there when it
Yeah.
rains.
Okay, maybe not. My
Yeah.
memories of it are just in that one like kind of mixing room and like kind of wandering through the what would be the visiting room? No, not the doctor rooms.
Oh, like the waiting? Oh, yeah, yeah, like all the examination rooms.
Yeah, exam rooms. Because like the main room's like in there. It's like in that waiting room. It's like kind of like the live room.
Yeah.
And like it's kind of cool because you got all those like little examination rooms that could be ISO rooms in a way, but I don't think he's ever done that.
No, but he does have that opportunity. I mean, there is like those X-ray rooms in there that he's using. Those are meant to be soundproof, like sealed.
Yeah, okay. Well, that can be pretty. Is that like okay? Is that in the back of those examination rooms, or is that behind where his like kind of mixing room is?
It's like in the back, like
Okay.
towards the end of the hallway.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's a cool. It's like one of those cool, unique like. Yeah, we recorded in a doctor's office. What? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely unexpected.
how'd you meet Matt?
That is such a good question. I don't even know if I can tell you. I mean, I'd have to really
Think back.
think. Yeah, so honestly, I think he just kind of floated into my life via just me entering certain circles. When I was doing work in BG, working with Trino Leaves and stuff like that, which we still work together, love them. Shout out to Dustin. I think that's maybe when he floated on my radar because he goes way back with them, and we were playing gigs together and kind of like trading BG Cleveland shows back and forth. So yeah, I really think that's how it happened because Paul is a mutual friend of ours. And like Grumpy Plum, like the drummer Lip is a friend of his, and like I know them, connected. So really, he just kind of ended up in my orbit.
That's the beauty of the Cleveland, Ohio music scene. Like it's pretty like interconnected in a lot of weird ways.
I mean, yeah, if you immerse yourself in different social groups, you really will just kind of meet a lot of random folks.
Like I think Matt was running the sound at the gallery for a minute too. He was kind of helping us with that. Um, and he actually got us some cables and shit. Like he hooked the gallery up for a minute until
Nice.
I think we had a power surge or something and fucked up all the speakers. I don't know. Like
Oh,
all the ones he got. There's two powered mains and they got fried.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the fun of the nonprofit. Um, so speaking of which, Creation's a nonprofit, yeah?
Not
Not yet.
legally. Yeah,
Okay.
not like legally or technically. No. Yeah, there's no LLC designation or anything.
Okay. Yet. I remember we talked about that a little bit too, yeah? That was like,
Yeah, Oh, sorry, not to cut you
oh
off.
no, I was going to say that was probably even before 2020. But anyway.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about, and maybe still in the future, probably going down the route of becoming a nonprofit, getting your 501(c)(3) and all of that. But for right now, Creation is just kind of an entity that I own and manage. Oh, we
Um,
love that.
I know. Um, but like, because like the whole nonprofit thing is like it's a tough racket to get in to do it all right. But the one thing that's always been cool is with Creation, it's always been a benefit. Like every gig's been a benefit of some sort. And I think that's when we were talking. I think that's what you were looking to do with it. Find ways to give back in on that kind of nonprofit level. And I'm sure
Yes.
I was gonna say I'm
Oh,
sure it's gonna get to that. Like,
yeah. That's the goal. I mean, we've kind of successfully, been able to give back. We have worked with and done donations for some organizations around Cleveland, the Tamir Rice Cultural Center, the Julio de Burgos Cultural Arts Center, celebrating Latino lives. We even did a donation into the LGBT Center back when they were still poor and had that little glass building over on 66. Now they're probably too good for us, but we did do that.
I remember
So
that
yeah.
one. I remember that one and the Tamira Rice one. I can't remember if I played acoustic at that or solo at. I know one of them was the band, one of them was solo.
The band might have been the LGBT Center
Okay,
one, the first one.
because like I don't know. Like Creation was like is my like favorite not like not main like festival, but it's gonna probably end up being one that happened every year and then like still does. And like
Oh, I appreciate that.
and it's always been badass because it's going towards something and like and to my perspective as someone who's been playing at them and kind of involved around them, like everyone's been successful, which has been cool because they're all going towards something. And everyone I've talked to that's played or went to one has said like this is so sick, you know what I mean, like this is like a really cool like Cleveland bubble that how did I not know about these guys like you
Mhm.
or Trino Leaves or whomever, and like it's been one of those festivals that always hit off. And like the best thing is everyone's gone towards something else, so it's not like anyone's getting paid, you know what I mean, like everyone's getting paid in the way of giving back, which has been really cool. And that's a really hard thing to gather like-minded people willing to make the time to do it towards something good.
Yes. And because of that difficulty, we have been transitioning into sort of a model where we try to make enough money happen for everybody. Because back in the day, we were doing like just a little $5 donation at the door, something, because the money just went straight to a charitable donation. But as we grow and more people get involved and the economy changes. And, as my own personal priorities change as well, too, we're really focusing on making sure that art workers are paid for their time, because charity is very important, and it's very good to give back, and that will always be a part of creation's identity. But at the same time, you get this precedent, and it happens everywhere, but especially in Cleveland, where sometimes a lot of people expect you to do creative work for free, because in their minds the joy of doing should be enough. And while that is necessarily true, sometimes it's kind of predatory, right? And it's kind of disrespectful, because you're telling somebody, and there's nothing wrong with having a hobby and having art as a hobby, but you're basically telling somebody that you view them as a hobbyist and you don't see their craft as something respectable, or worth time or worth income. So I'm trying to create a model where artists and workers do feel like they were compensated for their time, but at the same time, creating something that is so special and specific, that money is never going to be our end goal ever. That's never a trap I want to be caught in.
That's awesome. I think that's even better because, like, I definitely agree. I find myself being asked to do a lot of things where I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And then, like, well, yeah, assumed you would do this for nothing. Like, I
Right.
swear I had a conversation that went like that. And I was like, oh, cool. Now I really don't want to do it. Like,
I mean, yeah,
because
I
you
would.
assumed I wouldn't ask for anything. I mean, whatever. But but I think that's awesome because that does go to, that is the slap in the face because I don't know, I working with the gallery and getting to do all these like year-long benefits and being in this like positive mindset and like seeing a bunch of people give to that, I ride that hype wave, you know what I mean? I feel
Yeah.
really cool and like not cool. I feel really lucky and sometimes cool. But no, I feel really lucky to be involved with things like that where everyone's just happy to give back. But
Yes.
not under the assumption that they were like slighted, like, oh yeah, you thought you were getting
Mhm.
paid, but I just assumed you would be cool.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really cool that you're going to tighten the ends on that, but that's not the main focus. I think that's badass.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'd like admission to the festival to be free or pay what you can, and then have backing or sponsorship, behind it, so that I can pay everyone who's involved, and then we can really create, something special for the community, where at the end of it, we do have a pot of excess money that we can pour back in.
Yeah. So with the 4.5, with Creation Fest 4.5, what are we looking at that's different compared to the last three?
Well, right, the last, I mean, what, like last, my numbering convention really actually means nothing. So
That's why I
I,
was
I,
like,
I think there's been five.
yeah, right? Because then there was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
One, two, three, and then 3.5, and then
right.
four.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, 4.5. Well, the one of the biggest things is that it's in a new venue. We're using a building called the Brown Hoist, and it's over on 40th and St. Clair. And I had never actually even seen this building until I went to go look at it. But now that I know where it's at, I'm like, man, how did I miss this gigantic mansion on St. Clair?
Is that what it is? Is it a warehouse or is it like a giant just
Okay,
like what
so
is it? I'm not.
it's an office building.
Okay.
So here's a really interesting story about this particular building. It used to be located like 10 minutes down the street. And so apparently when that location wasn't working out anymore, they took the entire building and loaded it up on like, these type of mobile cars, and they moved it while people were still coming into work. They moved it a foot every single day until the
What?
building was in its new in its current location. Yeah, I know, crazy, right?
Oh my god, that's like a cartoon. Like,
But the part that really got me was people were still coming into work while this building was shifting a foot every single day.
it's like the dude gets in there, he puts his coffee down, it spills on Mondays. Like, God damn it, stupid moving builders, building
Okay,
movers.
not again.
It's always another foot. Whoa.
But it's a really cool building, and the best part about that place is the owner wants to expand it to be a community resource. So there's a lot of rooms that are for rent, and I mean I'm talking from everything from bring your friends and play tabletop board games to renting a place to come record some solo guitar or rehearse to do you just need a studio space for something, or do you want to open a little small business? They have spaces for all of those things, and so they're really trying to make it a multi-purpose communal art space. But the most important thing to me is that they have a commitment to and center minority populations, people of color and queers and things of that nature. And so we always want to have creation in a space that aligns with those values.
That's badass. That like so like how'd you get linked up with them?
So I just know the owner.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mean to make it sound so dismissive, like, oh, I just know a guy.
Right,
But
but I
like,
mean, when you're looking at these type of like places to hold things like this, was it through doing creation, or is it through playing music, or is it just I don't know.
just through my work in the
Okay,
community, a lot of people just meet me because I just kind of be everywhere sometimes. So that's how that happened.
nice. Was it because I remember it was supposed to be at
Black Punk Express.
Black Punk. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like, which, oh my God, that's right down the street from the gallery. And I like didn't know that was there at all. That place is sick too.
Right? Well, it's not going to be there anymore.
Oh, it's not? Like the
No.
building
Yeah.
itself? Oh no.
Well, so the venue is closing and relocating, which
Oh,
is the
okay, okay.
whole reason why we had to move creation. So,
Gotcha, gotcha.
and I mean, good for them, moving on to bigger and better things. And I won't say, too much more,
Yeah, yeah.
but
We'll put that for another conversation.
yeah.
But okay. Cool. So like all right, well like with 4.5 in the works, like is there anything like thematically else that's gonna be changed?
Um, no, not really. We kind of stick to a similar format
Yeah.
every time. But there's always different things going on. There's going to be the live music. There's going to be drag performers. There's going to be DJs. But on top of that, we have our things that kind of make it a little uniquely creation. I have my community resources available for people. We're gonna have a wall with just all types of random resources for the marginalized. Food always incredible, amazing, always vegan friendly, or vegan friendly options. We're gonna have flash tattoos, which is actually new for us, but has always been a part of the vision. So that's going to be very cool if you want to come up and sign up for a little tattoo real quick. But other than that, interactive art installations, as always, definitely focusing on stimulating, your five senses. There's always going to be a quiet space somewhere, a little red room for people to go and decompress. And really focusing on accessibility and making sure that everybody who wants to be there can be there comfortably.
That's beautiful. And I think throughout the last four, yeah, the numbers are not
Number.
adding up in my brain now. But like you've always done a good job of making sure all those needs were met. Like it took me back to the very first few, how there's kind of like a quiet spot on the top floor somewhere or downstairs when the DJ was going. Who's playing this
Oh, well,
4.5?
like, are you mean
Yeah,
DJing
music.
specifically or
No,
just in general? Oh, I
just
mean,
in
there's so
general.
many.
Who do we
Well,
got
we have a
on the
big
bill?
variety of bands. We got like I don't even know really where to start. So we have Total Downer. I'm excited about is a local punk band. Their lead, or maybe I shouldn't say lead, maybe I should say my point of contact, Andy. He works with the Cleveland Art Workers Guild, and conversations that we've had around workers' rights and things like that, have really informed some of my views about how I do business. But mostly just because, the big thing about creation is we center marginalized artists, and so another less convoluted way to say that is black people and queer people get first priority bookings, right? Because
Yeah.
everywhere else you go in Cleveland, that's not the case. And a lot of people talk about how hard it is to get booked or be relevant on the scene if you don't have what I like to call the Cleveland appeal, which is being some sort of white man with a guitar who plays covers. And there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, right?
Right.
But that's really like the Cleveland thing. We really are like almost like a corny sort of rocky like cover band town, and people who are more forward thinking or alternative, they don't have a place really in this music scene. And of course no one's going to say that out loud because everyone's afraid of pissing off someone or ruining a future job or connection or whatever, but that is the sentiment that a lot of people share. So that's why we emphasize that aspect at creation. And I have rambled on. I forgot the
No.
original question.
No, but on to that point, Cleveland and Akron, we come from this weird music, this weird avant-garde rock garage sounds. Like if you think back to Devo and Per Ubu and these bands from the 70s that were very unique within their own realm and their
Yes.
own weird, crunchy, whatever. We got the Cramps, we got, the Dead Boys. We got a lot of weird, unique things that are Ohio based, or Screaming Jay Hawkins,
Yes.
and but you're right. There is a lot of that dude in the bar with the playing Jimmy Buffett. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people in Cleveland might be a little bit too attached to our moniker as a rock and roll city. And I mean, also, look at the statistics. Socially, we are the most segregated city in the country. And I think all those factors really do affect our music scene.
Yeah.
But I think either people don't want to talk about it or they know about it and they just kind of want to blissfully ignore it. I mean, we all, maybe you didn't see the head of the Rock Hall. Maybe he's like the head of the commission that decides who gets to be there or whatever. But anyway, it's some, very important man recently got outed saying that he didn't think women, had a place in the Rock Hall. And he was like, oh, we could only let in like one black person a year, something crazy like that. So to know that all this time, some of the top, quote unquote, most respected music aficionados in Cleveland are explicitly preventing us from being a forward-thinking music town. You got to think, well, damn, what's going on like on all the lower levels, So that's really why creation came into existence, because let's just say the quiet part out loud, and then let's work on mending those bridges. Like as you said, being in the Cleveland music scene, you have an opportunity to mix with a lot of different types of people. But that's only if the opportunities are given, right?
That's true. And I definitely think what creation does is supply that opportunity. And I'd like to think that, when we look at the big thing, like the Rock Hall and all these bigger figures that may be calling what they think, I really think this boils down to what we're doing right now, what you're doing. We're having a conversation, we're mixing these different musical genres and sharing different ideas. And my experience through working at the gallery and just playing out and getting to be involved with the scene has been a very a beautiful version of seeing all these different people come together. And I think that's really the heart of the matter. And I think it's more just people going out to things like what you're doing and finding those opportunities in other places so this momentum keeps going forward. And that's what's badass about creation. And that's why it's one of those coolest festivals that everyone should go to and know about. And
I just remember you asked me who was going to be on it, and that's when I started spiraling. So to go back to that, yes, we have Total Downer, but we also have a new vibe, local Cleveland band, been working. DJ Navy, who has been tirelessly working to connect Cleveland's DJ scene to the rest of the Midwest and just really busting their ass out here, providing us with parties, celebrating house techno as a black genre of music. So very excited to have DJ Navy come, and support us. Nothing Phase, Paul, I might have mentioned, their government name earlier. They're coming to DJ. Live, play some of their original tracks. Very excited. They just released a single not too long ago, and they released, I think, an album or an EP last year that was very good. And who else do we have? My gosh. Well, my band is playing because obviously I would like to play on something that I'm participating in. But we have drag performers for the first time, which is really just silly. And I need to make it very clear that I'm not hopping on the recent drag is cool wave. It's just that, our previous system of payment that really wasn't sufficient, for a drag queen because they spend 4 hours, all their work is done before they show up.
Right.
So, I'm not going to have somebody get ready like that to show up for a maybe. So we have Bia Jewel and Ree Majestic performing, two bio queens, actually, that I really respect and love and adore. And, vastly different also. And we have Anya Nerve, Cleveland's Best Drag Queen 2023, will be hosting the event. So I would just like to put that out there. But also, I've just been waiting to work with Anya. They were voted Cleveland's Best Drag Performer for a reason. And, I love quality and passion. And that's what Anya exemplifies. So very excited to have them hostess with us. DJ Reggie Fields, he's going to be spinning tracks all throughout the night. And he'll be opening the show. So it's definitely like a start to finish affair. You want to come at 7 and you want to leave when it's done.
Definitely. Was it? Well, that's definitely like I love like how that how drag's now factored in, and I love that you waited till it was appropriate to where you can make sure everyone is compensated for that work.
Yes.
So I feel like that was an element throughout every creation so far. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's really cool now to see like now that you can highlight it in that way, and that's badass.
Yeah, I would really one day. If creation ever blows up to being like a 3-day engagement or something, which let's be very clear, it will always be an underground festival because we're never going to cater to the, status quo. But if we, get up to that point, I would love to just do a drag show hosted by creation, where we can focus on that completely and, highlight different types of queens, different sort of weird or underground more styles of drag. There are plenty of people in Cleveland already doing that. So I'm not, trying to step on any toes or insinuate anything. But I would just love to, put together a show like that myself.
That would be kind of okay. What would be kind of sick? The idea pitch would be if like that was like something that went to Fun Creation Fest. Like there was a couple of those throughout the year, and like you guys did the music for them. You know what I mean? Like or work something like that. That'd be pretty sick.
That would be pretty cool.
Like that would make it different than the drag shows I've been to that usually use like their bring in tracks or use other people's music. You know what I mean? To have a live music, like I mean that'd be a lot of work. It'd be a lot of work because you'd have to learn a lot of tunage and hit specific marks for sure. But that'd be sick.
I mean, it really wouldn't be any more work than preparing a song with a vocalist, right? I mean,
right.
the optics of somebody lip syncing in front of a band.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
A little odd. I mean, it would definitely be fun. Like, I'm not saying like that's stupid, but
I forgot. You're right. The lip syncing wouldn't work because there'd be nothing to sync up to.
Now, conversely, like in my band, our lead singer, does drag. And so I would love to, and I've actually talked to Anya about this as well, is doing sort of a drag review, sort of like an actual cabaret with a house band, and have queens that sing live come and sort of do a set like that. Because I mean, honestly, lip syncing is its own thing and has its own place, and I don't necessarily think having a live band with a lip syncer
Yeah, no,
would
that would.
allow them to get the attention they deserve.
Right. Well, and it'd be hard. Like you practice to the track. You know what I mean? And if the track's
Yeah.
live, you can't. There's a lag. But yeah, okay. But now if it's them singing, that's different. You know what I mean? Maybe that I think that's where
Yeah.
I was going in my mind and forgot the lip syncing
Like, oh,
bit.
people
Yeah.
can sing.
Yeah. I just assume everyone can rock. Which they can, but badass, man. What was I gonna say? I guess I had one more question before we kind of wrap up. I wanted to ask a little bit about the music you're doing on your own, that like stuff you're producing. Like you were saying, it kind of doesn't line up with like what the band does. Is it like? Can you kind of elaborate that on that a little bit?
Yeah. So a lot of the music that I do by myself, it's definitely, far more instrumental. Um, obviously, but also I just prefer to explore deeper themes and ideas and more vulnerable concepts when I'm sort of allowed to work from inside my own head. And so with the band, my mission is to spread joy and build people's worth and change the minds of skeptics who don't believe in the mission by playing beautiful music at a high skill level, which I think you can convert anybody with a good tune. But my personal mission is more sort of like, I don't give a fuck about y'all. And I just want to express music that makes me feel good. And I want to create things that, represent closer to what I listen to. And, when that work is, well, done, like when I have, a finished body of work, obviously the band is going to perform some of those pieces. But for the most part, the things I like to produce are very forward thinking, sort of hip hop jazz, eclectic world music, sort of things like that. A lot of deep beats, but very through composed, and my musical background will obviously shine in everything. Very lush chords and complex arrangements over, I guess, what one would call simple beats. But I just want people to hear my music and be moved. I mean, there's really no egoic component behind it. I want to make music that I can be satisfied with and that I can stand behind, and then give that piece of myself into the world. Versus with the band, I'm sort of thinking more about what the audience wants, or how can we best serve the listener.
Mm,
And it's not saying
yeah,
it's less
yeah.
artistic, but it's, let's say, it's much less radical than my
Okay.
personal music will be.
That's cool though. Like, I mean, and it's awesome to have both outlets like that. And like, I think, like maybe it's just the writing aspect. I feel with my own stuff. Like when you kind of dive into that on your own, you find it seeps into the other project regardless. Even just like the more you explore kind of within yourself, the more you find ways to do that in different elements. And like with the band, you've always like had like it's already kind of like there's a bunch of different like key voices there, right? That make up the how it moves the crowd, how it interacts with everybody, and like so now it's like kind of working backwards of bringing yourself into something that kind of has elements of everyone else in it.
Yeah.
But that's badass. I'm Robin. I'm super excited that that the fest is back, creation's back, and it's still going, and it's going strong, and just everything you do is badass. And I'm excited to hear
Oh,
the album when it comes out, or the EP when it
yes.
comes out, and like it just talking with you makes me excited to be in the Cleveland music scene, and
Oh
like
my gosh. Thank you.
well, thank you for taking time out, and thanks for hitting me up and keeping me in the loop all the time. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
and we'll cap it here with this. Is there anything else to kind of plug here? Did I forget anything?
Plug here. No, you pretty much nailed it. So, I just want to impress upon everyone that you should definitely follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Creation Cleveland. The festival is on November 11th, 2023 at 7 p.m. That's a Saturday. That's Veterans Day. I know y'all are off, and I know you don't have plans. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. It's going to be on the third floor of the Brown Hoist on 44th and St. Clair. Ample parking. Not going to run out of parking spots.
That's awesome.
and there is a elevator that is manually freight operated for people who aren't able to take stairs or maybe just don't want to.
Which is also badass. Very
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. Well, I'll be there.
Yo, Spike Spiegel here. You just listened to Zig of the Gig podcast. Keep riding the bebop. See you, Space Cowboy. Bang.